Hello, BookTube. Well, once again, we have a bit of a mail haul problem. That last mail haul was so thick with rants you could hardly see the books through them. uh, so, once again, I have a smaller batch of books this time around, and we're going to try and get through it in a nice, friendly way. We'll start with this one, this is the attractive black packaging. And I'm just going to assume that not every one of these books is going to tee up and set me off on some pet subject. So what have we got here? Oh, look at that! Look at how lovely that is. This is the advanced copy, of course. No finished copy is brave enough to do that. They should be, but they aren't. So the book is by Amy Malloy, and it's called The Perfect Mother. Let's see here. What we got here? In the wake of the rise of grip lit, I've read my share of twisty psychological thriller submissions, some of them terrific, others obvious knockoffs that pale in comparison with category standouts. But 10 pages into Amy Malloy's debut novel, very nice, I knew that The Perfect Mother was something special. Okay, let's see what we have here. Riveting debut novel, an impossible-to-put-down domestic thriller, unfolding over 13 fraught days and culminating with an unexpected twist. Meet May mothers, Brooklyn moms and one father whose babies were all born the same month and who meet regularly in the park seeking refuge from the isolation of new motherhood. At the core of the group are three very different women. Sweet Southern Francie, the glue who holds them together, is a stay-at-home mom whose husband works too much and earns too little. Pretty together Colette, in the midst of ghostwriting a high-profile book when she gave birth, struggles with her conflicting desires to support her literary novelist husband's career and advance her own. And then there's the irreverent, brash Nell, forced back to her corporate job 8 weeks after the giving birth, who is desperate to keep a scandalous, painful past out of the spotlight. When another May mother's baby is taken from his crib, the one night the group decides to go out for drinks, these three become determined to find the baby before it is too late. As the crisis unfolds, it threatens to expose secrets, test marriages, and fracture friendships. Okay, all right. Number of problems there, but I'm going to try and stay positive. Number one, very gently here, smiles on all our faces. A baby has gone missing. Its own parents don't know where it is. Therefore, it is a kidnapping. And therefore, it is against the law in Brooklyn for civilians to investigate. It is a police matter. So they would start asking around. The cops who are investigating would find out right away because we're talking to the same people, and the cops would say, if you don't want to go to jail, stop what you're doing. Wait until we solve this case. But the main thing that bothers me is, first of all, what was that? Culminating in an unexpected twist. The twist is hardly unexpected, given that plot description. What is the one element that all of these things have in common? What was it again? Sweet Southern Francine, the glue who holds them together, is a stay-at-home mom whose husband works too much and earns too little. In other words, he's neglecting her. He's a villain. Pretty together Colette, in the midst of ghostwriting a high-profile book when she gives birth, struggles with her conflicting desire to support her literary novelist husband's career and advance her own. In other words, he's a slug and a parasite. He's a villain. And irreverent brash Nell is forced back to her corporate job 8 weeks after giving birth. Who forces her back? Her male boss forces her back. Because he's an ogre and a villain. So the unexpected twist at the end of this book is not hard to see coming. The person who abducted the baby and the people who orchestrated it, I could be wrong. It's a debut novel. I could be wrong. So this let's go back to the specifics of this. This is a debut novel. On what date does the patriarchy determine that it will come out? May. It comes out in May. Okay. I'm really hoping that it has a wraparound dust jacket that just looks like that. And that this is the naked hardcover. That would be really nice. But we shall see. So that's that one. That's the first one. It was a thin thing. It was a near run thing. Almost went off, but no, no. It could surprise me. It's a debut novel. Debut novelists are full of tricks. You never know what could happen. So let's see here. Oh, fantastic. Oh, and it's pretty too. Oh, very nice. Okay, this is something I think we've mentioned on this channel before. This is Fools and Mortals. It's a historical novel by Bernard Cornwell, who will be familiar to a lot of you. He's done a lot of historical novels, not only the Sharps novels, but also all the novels about Anglo-Saxon England. Saxon England fighting the Vikings. Very good novels, all of them. The Viking books get a little bit programmatic. But this is a standalone book about Shakespeare's brother. So, let me see if I can find... I think I read the description to you already. Let me see here. What have we got for a description? This is... Yes, in the heart of Elizabethan England, Richard Shakespeare dreams of a glittering career in one of London's playhouses, a world dominated by his older brother, William. But he is a penniless actor, making ends meet through a combination of a beautiful face, petty theft, and a silver tongue. As William's star rises, Richard's one-time gratitude is souring, and he is sorely tempted to abandon family loyalty. So when a priceless manuscript goes missing, suspicion falls on Richard, forcing him into a perilous path through a bawdy and frequently brutal London. Entangled in a high-stakes game of duplicity and betrayal which threatens not only his career and potential fortune, but also the lives of his fellow players, Richard must call on all he now has learned from the brightest stages and darkest alleyways of the city. To avoid the gallows, he must play the part of a lifetime. And that sounds like so much. I've had the advanced copy of this forever, and I haven't delved into it because at the end of the year, I am always in the same position. I'm looking back. I'm trying to finish up the year rather than look at new books. And this doesn't come out until January. But it's very nice. You have Fools and Mortals. The wax stamp is embossed. You've got the deckled edges. You've got nice end papers there. I will get to it anyway. I don't think I will get to it before the new year, but right after that, because I'm going to be reviewing it, and that adds a little kick, a little kick in the pants there. Then we'll move on to this next one. What is this next one? Oh my! Oh goodness! Oh, I didn't think this would happen. This is something I requested. This is for the new year. It's from March, so I won't be delving into it until then. But it's high fantasy. It's a big, fat, high fantasy novel, which nobody ever sends me, because I never review them. It's called Blood of the Four, by Christopher Golden and Tim Levin. And I liked the sound of it. Let's see what we have here. In the great kingdom of Quandis, everyone is a slave. Some are slaves to the gods. Most are slaves to everyone else. Blessed by the gods with lives of comfort and splendor, the royal elite routinely perform their duties, yet some chafe at their role. A young woman of stunning ambition, Princess Phila, refuses to allow a few obstacles, including her mother, the queen, and her brother, the heir apparent, to stand in the way of claiming ultimate power and glory for herself. Far below the royals are the Bajuman. Poor and oppressed, the members of this wretched caste have but two paths out of servitude, the priesthood or death. Because magic has been kept at bay in Quandis, royals and Bajuman live together in an uneasy peace for centuries, but Princess Phila's desire for power will disrupt the realm's order, setting in motion a series of events that will end with her becoming a goddess in her own right, or ultimately with the destruction of Quandis and all its inhabitants. I confess, a large part of the reason why I wanted this is because of Christopher Golden, who is a very reliable hack, and who has been writing very readable and enjoyable science fiction and fantasy since, I think, the 1830s. I have no idea who is this Tim Levin person. He's written more than 40 horror, dark fantasy, and tie-in novels, including The Silence, The Relics, and Kong Skull Island. He wrote the novelization of Kong Skull Island. And the Norila fantasy series, which I don't know. He's also written hundreds of novellas and short stories, winning several prestigious awards, and has had his work optioned and made for the big screen. Good Lord. Okay, so he's as big a hack as Christopher Golden. Wow. All right, so this is two practiced hands doing this, and we'll just see if that means it's any good or extra derivative. I won't be finding out until the new year. And then the last package here, fairly heavy. Always a good sign. What have we got here? Oh no, I thought it was going to be one huge book. There's one huge book in the offing. I think I mentioned it to you, 1,000-page history of World War One. But this is instead 2 books. Oh, okay, great. Right, one I requested and one I did not. That's great. So the first one is Verena, the new book by Charles Fraser, the author of Cold Mountain, which is a very pretty advanced copy. Nice textured cover. With her marriage prospects limited, teenage Verena Howell agrees to wed the much older widower Jefferson Davis, with whom she expects a life of security as a Mississippi landowner. Oh, it's that Verena. Oh my God. Is that right? Let's see. He instead pursues a career in politics and is eventually appointed president of the Confederacy, placing Verena at the white-hot center of one of the darkest moments in American history. The Confederacy falling, her marriage in tatters, and the country divided, Verena and her children escape Richmond and travel south on their own, now fugitives with bounties on their heads and an entire nation in pursuit. Intimate in its detailed observations of one woman's tragic life and epic in its scope and power, Verena is a novel of an American war and its aftermath. Ultimately, the book is a portrait of a woman who comes to realize that complicity carries consequences. Wow. Okay, I have never known what to do with... this comes out in April. Very nice. I've never known what to do with Charles Fraser because everybody loved Cold Mountain and I didn't. And I have... He's a really nice guy. Comes into bookstores all the time. Doesn't have many airs about him. And I've tried every book since Cold Mountain, and I've never liked any of them. They're not bad. Nothing that he writes is bad, but it's just completely flat on the page. It's the kind of stuff that you do on heavy stock paper with a dip pen, leisurely in the morning as a writer with a capital W, all in italics. And that is never gainsaid by anyone. It's all of his stuff has always struck me as something, as stuff that's written by someone who has no first reader, no what in the AuthorTube world is called a beta reader. No one like that. He could have a person for all I know, but it strikes me. It's always struck me that his prose since Cold Mountain never hears anything but yay and welcome from the minute it leaves his pen. I could be wrong about all of that, but that's the impression that I get, and that's it hasn't, none of it has worked on me, and we'll have to see. That description makes this sound more ambitious than anything he's ever done. Wow, the wife of Jefferson Davis. Wow, okay, I'm on board. And then this next one is one that I did not request. This comes out in January. It's by Robin MacArthur, and it's called Heart Spring Mountain. A finished copy of Heart Spring Mountain. She lives and works on a farm where she was born in Vermont. She lives and works on the farm where she was born in Vermont. She is the author of Half Wild, which is a collection of short stories, and the editor of Contemporary Vermont Fiction. And she's one half of the indie folk duo Red Heart the Ticker. I know that, of course. I wouldn't know that. What have we got here? This is the publicist must have included this. I requested Verena. The publicist must have included this, and that's always interesting when they take it upon themselves to do that. It's August 2011, and Tropical Storm Irene has just wreaked havoc in Vermont, flooding rivers and destroying homes. 1,000 miles away, while tending bar in New Orleans, Vale receives a call saying that her mother Bonnie has disappeared. Despite a years-long estrangement from Bonnie, Vale drops everything and returns home to look for her. But the hometown that Vale comes back to is not the one she left 8 years earlier, and she finds herself falling back into the lives of the families she thought she'd long left behind. As Vale begins her search, the narrative opens up and pitches back and forth in time to follow 3 generations of women, a farming widow, a back-to-the-land dreamer, and an owl-loving hermit, as they seek love, bear children, and absorb losses. All the while, Vale's search for her unwittingly careening has her unwittingly careening toward a family origin secret more stunning than she ever imagined. And this is Robin MacArthur's first novel. Okay, all right, fantastic. It's not anything I would probably, if I'd seen it, I probably wouldn't have requested it on my own. But here it is, and I'll gladly read it. I can never tell. There's no note, so I can never tell if the publicist, who I've known her for years, if she included this because she thought, he might like this, or if she included this because she knows me well enough to know what I've told you on this channel many times before, which is that I read everything I get. Eventually, I read everything I get, especially now in December, where I'm feverishly reading to try and sort of close the back hatch on 2017. Okay, all right. Well, this is a fiction-heavy haul here. So we have Heartspring Mountain, which goes back in time. So it's not just that this woman goes back home to search for her missing mother. It's that the narrative goes back in time generations. That's pretty interesting. And then Verena, about Verena Davis, about the wife of Jefferson Davis. Then Blood of the Four, about a kingdom that doesn't operate on magic. There aren't schools or cadres of magic. No, it's keeping magic out. And when magic enters, chaos comes with it. That's kind of interesting. Then Fools and Mortals, about Shakespeare's Hubba Hubba brother. And then The Perfect Mother by Amy Malloy, which I promise I will read with an open mind. So there you go. That isn't mostly fiction. That's all fiction, isn't it? Good Lord. So there's historical fiction, there's fantasy, there's contemporary fiction, there's a thriller. And we got through it with almost no contention. How do you like that? So I'm going to go for now. If I get a window, I will be back today. If not, I should be able to inundate you with videos tomorrow. So we'll see. Either way, I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.